Hi, welcome to Safety Inspection Training. This is our 2016 version. We will be moving to this voiceover presentation rather than our module that we used last year. So thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. This module will cover why we do inspections, some of our required inspections, what to consider during an inspection, examples of physical hazards, office, warehouse, and lab inspections. We'll just do an overview of those. Emergency preparedness inspection, vehicle inspections, and we're going to review with an inspection video at the end. Alright, so why we do inspections. Essentially we're looking to effectively monitor worksite conditions, ensure that company safety standards are being followed, and ensure that regulatory requirements are being met. A lot of times doing these types of inspections will identify hazards before they become incidents, which is the larger goal of our safety program. Required inspections in our workplace. We have the daily forklift inspection that needs to be done by the operator pre-job or pre-shift inspection. We've got the office inspections that are done monthly, your shop inspections again done monthly. There's vehicle inspections that need to be done. Company vehicles need to be inspected monthly, and the way we've set up light use personal vehicles that are used for company work on the odd occasion. For example, a salesperson who uses their vehicle to travel to vendors or customers on a semi-regular basis, they would be required to submit a quarterly vehicle inspection. Alright, and anybody who's using a personal vehicle for location work, so a guy using his own personal truck to head out to a rig, that also requires a monthly inspection, same as a company truck. All the same requirements would be in play there. Alright, let's look at what to consider when doing a site inspection or a hazard assessment, because essentially those terms are interchangeable. What a site inspection is an actual hazard assessment. You're looking at the situation, the people involved, the preparation for the job, what tools and equipment are in place and whether they are in good condition, and also the emergency response plan at that location or that site. Those are all things you want to consider when doing your site inspection. As far as situation goes, you're looking at environmental impacts, access, egress to the site. You're looking at all different things that be specific to that situation. Looking at people, you want to look at the qualifications of the people involved, whether they have their own personal protective equipment on, whether there's fatigue that's a factor in the work they're doing. These are all just examples of things you're looking for when you're doing an inspection and people are involved. Job preparation, you're looking at equipment preparation, whether you've got an H2S work site or not, whether the pre-job instructions have been reviewed, procedure manuals are being followed. These are types of things that you want to look for when you're doing an inspection and concerning yourself with the preparation for the work being done. Tools and equipment, you're just looking for whether they have the proper tools, whether they're damaged. Do the tools match the work? Emergency response plan is another key thing to be looking for when doing a site inspection. Is there an emergency response plan? That's a big one. And do they have some of the things listed there, whether it's rescue equipment, fire extinguishers, ways of contacting the outside. On location, obviously that's a bit of a bigger deal than here in the city, but either way, those are important things to be considering during your inspection. What to inspect? Physical layout of the facility, the terrain, the weather. You also want to inspect material hazards. Look at the materials that are being used and the work being done, and every site will have available MSDS sheets to have a look and see whether the materials being used are reactive, whether we should have concern about what's being done. Other workers and their job tasks. A lot of times people will be focused solely on what they're doing, not understanding that what they're doing could have an effect on someone else's job or the safety of someone else. So have a look at the total scope when you're especially in a Bay Area. There's a number of different groups doing a number of different things. Make sure that you're paying attention to all those things. Again, equipment and tool conditions you're looking at, making sure there's no damage, no frayed wires on electrical tools, things like that. Work practices and behavior of the employees, contractors, visitors, and clients. Anyone who's in the facility at the time of the inspection, you're taking a snapshot and you're looking at whether the practices that they're undergoing are safe, and whether you can sign off from your inspection that they're following company policy and regulatory policy. Also, the level of quality and supervision given to the workers in your workplace. Examples of physical hazards. These will include things like tripping hazards when you're walking around anywhere in an office or any type of shop. You're going to find a number of these. Housekeeping is a huge thing to keep in mind when you're doing inspections. A messy desk and a messy workstation, that's much higher chance of hazards or incidents happening in that case. You're also looking for gases, flammables, materials that will be reacting like we talked about with each other. Make sure there's proper signage, and if those signs are up, make sure that they're stored properly. You're looking for damaged administrative controls like signage, and you're looking for the lack of signage. Maybe there should be a sign that in an area there's not. Maybe there's signs up that maybe they're damaged. Make sure that you take those into consideration as well. And also you're looking for damaged equipment, even something as simple as a burnt out plug that hasn't been cared for or replaced yet. Make sure that you're paying attention to all those types of concerns. Something as simple as a busted network cable box, or these are all things we want to consider when doing our inspections. Office, warehouse, and lab inspections. Some things to remember. They are to be completed by the assigned staff member and then reviewed monthly by the HSE coordinator. For the reason you're doing this training is because you are the assigned staff member, and it's important that you have your training prior to the actual inspection. Staff must assist in the actual inspection process, so it can't be a situation where I do an inspection and then or walk around and do it for you. I need the assistance. Our company requires the assistance of all staff in the inspection process. The office, warehouse, and lab inspections include the structure, security, and also safety and comfort factors, and all of the regular and emergency equipment. It's pretty comprehensive in what it includes, so make sure that you're paying attention even in the days leading up to your inspection. Start having a look around and thinking about the things that you really want to focus in and look at. First aid kits during these inspections will have inventory lists. You need to make sure that they're opened up and a full content inventory is performed. That's an important part of this process, and anything that's noted needs to be passed along to the HSE coordinator for replenishment. All forms must be kept in the HSE records binder or in the digital files on the company network. That's key too. We have to keep records. Emergency preparedness inspection. You're going to be looking for things like first you're going to start with the form, so it looks like this. Basically it just gives you not applicable, yes and no, going down the checklist, asking a number of questions relating to our emergency response plan and our preparedness in the event of emergency. Do we have fire extinguishers in the vehicles? That's one thing that gets forgot a lot. You need to make sure that number one, they're in the vehicle, in the company vehicles, and number two, that they've gone through an inspection to make sure that they are still current. Also the fire extinguishers in the building, making sure that the proper extinguisher is in the proper room. You don't want to have ABC extinguishers in, for example, the electrical lab where there should be a CO2 extinguisher. You want to make sure that the AED is current, that the battery and the pads are not expired. That's a simple process of opening them up and having a look. It's remarked right inside the case when the expiry dates are, so make sure that those have not passed. You want to make sure that emergency exits are clear and they're clearly marked. And you want to make sure the first aid kits, like we mentioned, are stocked and ready to go. Vehicle inspections. Visual walk around of company vehicles is to be done prior to starting all. Every time you get in a company vehicle, you need to do a walk around. And also an in-cab check needs to be done, listening to the motor, ensuring the gauges and lights and sensors are all operational. Full service inspections are to be completed by a company-approved third-party service center. Ideally, this just is done during oil changes. Also inspected and documented on the form should be the presence of insurance and registration. All forms must be kept in the HSE records binder or on the digital files on the company network. Again, we talked about the frequency of these inspections, so again, we'll just clarify. Company vehicles are inspected monthly. Company vehicles are personal vehicles that are used for location services. So if MWD hand or a field trainer is heading out to a location in his personal vehicle, it has to have regular monthly inspections. Light use vehicles, that they're personal vehicles, but they're used, the odd time for for company business, just require a quarterly inspection to make sure that insurance and registration are current. Just gonna quickly turn on this video and run through it here.
The best way to find hazards is by doing a safety and health inspection. There are several ways to do inspections. Some are thorough, top to bottom, inside-out inspections on facilities, vehicles, forklifts, and machinery. Another important inspection is the quick scan. Everyone should get into the habit of doing quick visual surveys of any area they walk or drive into, no matter where you work, in an office, a machine shop, factory, store, your home, garage, or basement. Anywhere and every place can have safety obstacles. Here are some things to look for. Every work area should have 2 exits clearly visible. Are all the exits unblocked, unlocked, and clear on the outside of the door? Where are the 2 nearest fire extinguishers? Are they charged, properly mounted, and easily accessible? If there are mats or carpeting, are the mats flat all around with no upturned edges that are trip hazards? Are there any flaws in the carpeting that could catch someone's foot while walking? Are there any spills or wet spots on the floor that could cause someone to slip and fall? If you are using stairs, are they clear of obstacles, fitted with sturdy handrails and non-slip treads? Is the lighting sufficient for the work being done? Is the work area properly ventilated? Does the work area require personal protective equipment like safety eyewear, steel-toe footwear, skid-resistant shoes, gloves, or other PPE? Are there loud noises that will require earplugs? Any obstructions or obstacles in the walking surfaces like holes, uneven pavement, cords, tools, debris, or anything else that could cause a slip, trip, or fall? If you are going to be working in or around any electrical equipment, is the area where you will be working clean and dry? Finally, and perhaps one of the most important issues, is all work in the area being performed safely? Do you see anyone doing an unsafe work practice or taking unnecessary risks? It is important to comment on unsafe work practices because people who care less for their own safety could care less about you. If you were a passenger in a car driven by someone who refused to wear a seatbelt, would you feel safe? By the same token, if another person is willing to take unnecessary risks in your work area, they make the entire place unsafe for everybody. They can even destroy your workplace, putting you out of a job.